Chinese sanctions on Australian wine are set to be removed, clearing the way for the Prime Minister to visit Beijing next month. Joining us live now is Tyrrell's Wine's Managing Director, Bruce Tyrrell. Bruce, good to see you, by the way. I was up your way and talking to you in the middle of the crisis where your exports to China basically dropped to zero. So are you jumping for joy yet on this news?
Well, it's the best news we've had for quite some time. The industry's going through a pretty tough time at the moment. But yeah, the door is now open. Hopefully the Prime Minister in his visit can negotiate the final bit so that we do get all of the tariff dropped. It's made a significant difference to our sales overseas and all of Australia, but also to consumption in China. Consumption's dropped pretty radically, and maybe it is because they can't get the wine that they really like to drink.
Okay, so that's what you think might be at the heart of this. I mean, they had their own product there in China, but I mean, you know, we can all agree that Australian wine is probably the best in the world, if not very close. But they're of the view that, well, we need this stuff back.
Yeah, it's the Chinese consumer really likes Australia. They like Australia too, and I think it runs on from there. But China's a massive winemaker. I think no one really realises they're top 2 or 3 biggest producers in the world. But as more and more Chinese people have travelled over the last 10 years, they've got to know Australia. They like Australia. They like Australians, and got a great taste for Australian wine. So we really need to be back in that market. I think it's the way out.
Yeah, sorry, Bruce. So will you, as soon as the door is opened, you'll go full throttle back to China, or will you tread with caution and perhaps worry that, well, they could just jack tariffs up again down the track?
Well, I suppose that's always a possibility. If you're forever looking at negatives down the track, you never ever go forward. So yeah, we'll be there. We're already, and we've never lost contact with our various Chinese customers and distributors. So we've kept that door open through the whole of this 3 or 4 years. So we're sort of ready to go when it happens.
So how long would it take you to get to levels, pre the moment that they jacked up these tariffs? How long would it take you to get back to the levels you were at and sending your product into China?
I'd reckon it's going to take us a couple of years at least. 2 to 3 years. Chinese consumption has dropped by 60-odd%. So now, admittedly, during COVID, they couldn't go out, they couldn't do a lot of things. So, but the imported wine market into China before COVID, we had 70 to 80% of that market.
Yeah.
So we really were a major player, and a lot of countries overseas thought they would come in and take that market from us, but the market evaporated.
Yeah.
So hopefully now China's opening up internally. Once that happens, their economy hopefully will grow, and Australian wine sales will grow with it.
How much were you able to diversify in the end?
Not as much as we'd like. We actually thought we'd get half of it back. And all the indications were there in Russia. But of course, the invasion of the Ukraine just cut that one off. So we thought there are our 2 major export markets disappeared. Now, we've opened up a lot of small and medium markets, but nothing really would replace those 2.
Oh. Gee, it's been a bad run, hasn't it, Bruce?
Been a rough trot. We've had 4 tough vintages in a row, so we're due for a break.
Well, now you've got a potential bushfire season. I don't want to put the mockers on you at all, but I mean, the season ahead's not looking good here locally.
Well, thankfully, the bushfire brigade have about 6-8 weeks ago burnt off the mountain behind us. So, that's a sensible thing to do and given us a fair bit of protection.
All right. Well, I'm happy that you're happy, Bruce, and hopefully you can get your product into China as soon as possible. But yeah, things are looking good at this stage.
Yeah,
so.
Looking good. It's now on the shoulders of the Prime Minister to see how good a job he can do when he goes over there next month.
Bruce Tyrrell, that's Tyrrell's Wine's Managing Director, coming to us from Port Colborne.